Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into something that's really important, but also, can be kind of tough to talk about. We're going to explore why people sometimes feel lost and how understanding all this can help us be better friends to each other. So, let's just start with a huge, difficult question. It's one that I bet a lot of us have wondered about at some point. It's a heavy one, for sure, but by looking at it together, I think we can really start to understand ourselves and each other a whole lot better. All right, to tackle this big question, we're going to break it down. Think of this as our roadmap for the investigation. We'll start with a complicated question, then talk about the world's two faces, something called the invisible rope, what it means to be alone together, and an invisible sickness, and finally, and this is the most important part, choosing hope together. Okay, first up, a complicated question. We're going to explore an idea that seems to contradict itself. Now, this might feel a little confusing at first, but just stick with me, because it'll start to make sense as we dig in. So, you've probably heard this before. When someone makes that tragic choice, a common reaction from people is to call them a coward. And maybe you've even had that thought yourself. I mean, from the outside, it can really look like they're just running away from their problems, right? But let's just pause and ask, is it really that simple? Because usually the hardest things to understand in life are never simple. There's almost always a lot more going on beneath the surface. To get our heads around this, we need to understand a word, paradox. Sounds kind of fancy, right? But all it really means is a situation that's like a riddle. It's when two opposite things seem to be true at the exact same time, which, yeah, can be super confusing. But thinking about these paradoxes can help us understand really tricky ideas. So think about this for a second. Your body's number one job, above everything else, is just to survive. It is hardwired into your brain to keep you alive. You know that feeling when you get startled or scared? That jolt? That's your fight or flight response. It's the super powerful automatic instinct that takes over to protect you. You don't even think about it. It just happens. It is incredibly strong. And this is where we find that paradox, this tragic idea of a brave coward. Now, let's be super clear. It's the wrong kind of brave. It's a decision born from incredible pain and weakness and despair. But to go against that powerful survival instinct we just talked about, to override your body's most basic command, that takes a tragic and immense force. So you see, it's not simple cowardice. It's way, way more complicated and sad than just one word. Okay, let's move on to the next piece of this puzzle, the world's two faces. This is all about what happens when the world we actually see doesn't match up with what we were taught it's supposed to be. Think about it. When we're little, we're taught all these really important rules for being a good person. Be kind, tell the truth, help people, love one another. But then, as we get older, we start to see other things, don't we? We see cruelty. We see people telling lies or being selfish. We see people hiding who they really are. And realizing that difference, that gap between the rules we learned and the world we sometimes see, well, that can be really confusing and deeply upsetting. It can shake your trust in things and make you feel like you're the only one who sees it, which can be a super lonely feeling. All right, section 3, the invisible rope. Here, we're going to try and understand why someone might feel totally and completely trapped, even when to people on the outside it looks like there's an obvious way out. Let me tell you a quick story. Imagine a little donkey tied to a big, strong, solid post. It pulls and it pulls, but it just can't get free. So what happens? Eventually, its brain learns a lesson. Pulling is useless, so it stops trying altogether. Now, the owner comes and swaps that heavy post for a flimsy little plastic chair. The donkey is much stronger now. It could easily snap the rope or just drag the chair away, but it doesn't even try. Why? Because in its mind, it still believes it's trapped. This story is a perfect example of a real thing that scientists call learned helplessness. It's a state of mind where you feel like you have absolutely no power to change your situation, all because of negative things that happened in the past. It's like an invisible rope is holding you back. The rope might not even be real anymore, but in your mind, it feels just as strong as ever. And this is so, so important to understand. That feeling of being trapped is real. It's not about being weak or not trying hard enough. It's about being completely convinced by your past experiences that there is no way out. Just like that donkey, your mind has learned that trying is pointless. Okay, on to our next section, alone together. This is about how life today is so different from the past, and how, weirdly, all our technology can sometimes make us feel more alone than ever. So, in the past, people often lived in smaller communities, like a village. You had to talk to people face to face. You solved problems together. You saw your neighbors having good days and bad days. But now, a lot of us live in the world of the screen. We text and DM instead of talk. We scroll through what looks like everyone else's perfect life. And this can make you feel totally alone with your own struggles, and like there's this pressure to have a perfect, easy life too. Let me just ask you this. Have you ever been scrolling on your phone and just started to feel worse? Like you're looking at everyone else's pictures and stories, and it seems like they all have it totally figured out, and you're the only one who doesn't? Yeah, that feeling is so common. We're comparing our real lives, with all the messy, normal, sometimes sad parts, to everyone else's highlight reel. And that's just not a fair comparison. Now, we need to talk about something very real that is often misunderstood. It's an invisible sickness, and it's really important that we give a name to this heaviness that people can feel. This is maybe the most important thing we'll talk about today. The word is depression. And depression is a real medical illness. It is not just being sad. It is not an excuse. Just like asthma is an illness that affects your breathing, depression is an illness that affects your brain. It changes how you feel, how you think, and how you act. And you can't just snap out of it, any more than you can snap out of having a broken arm. And because you can't see it, it's so hard for other people to understand. But for the person experiencing it, it can feel like a heavy cloud that follows you everywhere. Things you used to love doing just aren't fun anymore. You can feel tired all the time, even if you got plenty of sleep. It's a feeling of being empty or stuck. It can feel like your own mind is torturing you. It's like all the color and joy has just been drained out of the world. So, after understanding all of this, the paradox of pain, the world feeling confusing, that invisible rope, the loneliness, this invisible illness, the most important question is, what can we do? How can we help? How can we make a difference? The good news is we are not helpless. The signs that someone is struggling are often there if we just learn to pay attention. Maybe a friend stops hanging out and withdraws from everyone, or they have sudden mood changes, or you hear them talk about feeling hopeless. These aren't just little things. They can be signals. They can be cries for help. We don't have to be experts. The most powerful thing we can do is just be a good friend. First, notice. Notice when your friends don't seem like themselves. Second, listen. Really listen without trying to fix it or judge them. Just let them know you're there and that they are not alone. And third, and this is the most important part, talk to a trusted adult. A parent, a teacher, a school counselor. They are trained to know how to get the right kind of help, because help is real and it works. So, the takeaway from our investigation today is this. Understanding is always the first step. By opening our eyes to what others might be going through, and by opening our hearts to listen without judgment, we can build a world where no one has to feel completely alone with their pain. We can be the kind of people and the kind of community that chooses hope together.